working in the private sector and marketing and working with businesses, which is what I do when I meet with people about their advertising. I need to find out what it's going to take to get more people through their doors so that they can make more of a profit, and how we can best market to their demographic. So I think it's vitally important that our congressmen, our citizen congressmen who go there not for a career, not for self-aggrandizement, but just to represent you. So you have a voice in Washington, D.C., and so that we have some hope that we can turn this massive ship around. It's going to be hard. I'm not going to fool you. It's going to be hard. A lot of damage has been done in the last few years, and George Bush is a big part of the problem too, and a lot of the Republicans. There's been massive spending on that, but this Democrat Congress and Obama have dwarfed anything that George W. Bush ever in his wildest dreams would have possibly conceived of. And I really hope that you'll seriously consider voting for Lisa Michaels to represent your viewpoints in Washington, D.C. Thank you for your time.
Rob, come on up. Rob has a BA degree from BYU. He was the founder and president of a company called GameFace Incorporated, which does executive training and sports job placement. Rob Cornelius.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I appreciate the Washington County Public Affairs Forum having this forum for we the candidates, and I also send my regards to my fellow candidates. If I may, I'd like to take a little bit of license and introduce my wife as well, who's with me here today. Her name is Allison. Allison, since not everyone can see you, could you please stand? This is Allison. Thank you. Allison and I just celebrated earlier this summer our 25 wedding anniversary, 25 years. Thank you. We have 3 sons, ages 21, 18, and 15. 2 of our boys are in college, the others in high school. And all of our sons have gone through the Tiger Tualatin School District since we moved into Tualatin in 1993. We also began, as Ted mentioned, a company almost 16 years ago called GameFace. We started this company out of a spare bedroom in our home in Tualatin, and dipping into our own savings account, we ran this business and continue to run this business by, in that time, employing about 60 people. This is just an idea that I had. Allison was supportive of me and allowed me to follow my dream in pursuing this particular line of work. And what GameFace does is we advise and consult with companies, large and small, all over the country, on best business practices. Specifically, our main area of focus is the sports and entertainment world, which may seem a little odd since we don't have a lot of sports and entertainment companies in this part of the world. About 99% of our clients are, in fact, out of state. But I tell you this because it underscores the love and the fondness that Allison and I and our boys have for Washington County and for this part of the world. She and I were both born and raised in Washington and Yamhill counties, and we made a conscious decision to not only start a business here, but also to raise a family here. But over the years, as things have changed and as it's become more and more difficult for our neighbors and friends to find lasting jobs and careers, as it's become more difficult for people to start their own businesses, perhaps like we have been able to do, as it's been more difficult for us to see our kids actually stay in Oregon and find opportunity here, as it's been increasingly difficult to see our seniors actually be able to retire and stay in Oregon as opposed to go elsewhere, I decided 2 or 3 years ago, as some of you may know, to throw my hat into the ring and run for the 1st Congressional District. Last year, I was the Republican nominee, and I lost in the November election. I'm gladly throwing my hat back in the ring, I should say, because things are not better than they were a year ago, unfortunately, for my state. We just heard just last week that our unemployment rate is 9.6%. That's 15 straight years above the national average. And if you consider throughout the country, there are 14 million people unemployed right now. There are an additional 9 million people who have part-time jobs but are looking for full-time work. And there's an additional 6.5 million people who have simply stopped looking. So if you do the math with me, ladies and gentlemen, that's nearly 30 million people in our country who cannot find sustainable work to pay for their bills, to pay for their retirement, to pay for their kids' education. 30 million Americans. That's almost the equivalent of 8 Oregons. Can you imagine 8 states the size of Oregon being completely without economic hope? And that's the situation we're in. It's a situation that took us a long time to get into. It's not because of one particular party. It's not because of one particular person. It was a group effort. And frankly, I decided to walk away from my business for temporary time while I still own the company and we still manage it. We're leaving it in the good hands of our employees, but I decided to do this, to run for Congress as a normal citizen, because I simply feel that this situation is untenable. And the people who are seeking office in large part today come from the same system that got us into this quagmire, this mess. I'm not a career politician. I have not been groomed for this position by a party. No one asked me to run, but rather, as Lisa mentioned, because of our founding fathers setting the example of walking away from their farms or their small business for a time, I think that's what we have to do in this generation. We have to make sacrifices together. And I submit to you my candidacy today. How do we do this together? How do we actually turn this ship around and get back to a place where our kids and grandkids can actually have hope for the future, where they can have the type of opportunity and prosperity that I believe you've enjoyed? Well, I think there are a few key things we must do. First of all, we must recognize that we need reasonable people in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. right now is full of bickering, partisanship, gamesmanship, and it's not getting us anywhere. And I have no interest in playing games. In my business, I've worked with more than 400 organizations around the country. And I would tell you that these organizations, while many of them are household names, some of them are just small businesses that you've never heard of before. And when I go work with these organizations, I do not step inside their conference room when we first sit down with their executives. I do not ask, now before we begin, I just have to find out, are you a Republican or a Democrat? I really don't care. All I want to know is, what's the problem that prevents you from getting to the objective or the result you're trying to accomplish? Now, what are the tools at our disposal? What are the obstacles we have in front of us? What are the resources I should add along with tools? And also, what's the time frame? And now let's roll up our sleeves and let's get something done. That's the type of attitude and mentality and, frankly, skill set I believe we need in Congress today. Second, we need a more fair tax system. Our tax code is overly complicated. 6 billion hours were spent last year by American taxpayers just filling out tax forms. This is untenable, ladies and gentlemen. And the only people who seem to benefit from it are the big corporations who have big-time attorneys and lobbyists and accountants who can figure out the loopholes. That has to stop to create a fairer opportunity for small businesses, especially here in Washington County. A third thing we have to do is we have to restore to reasonable regulation. Regulation is there to protect us, but it's gotten out of whack. And right now, small business owners like myself, we don't know if we can add jobs because we don't know what regulations may impede our progress or what may be punitive down the road. And so there's no certainty in the marketplace. And the other thing that we must do is we must make sure that we tap the resources that we have in this particular district so as to revitalize the economy and not be afraid of our assets and our strengths. And lastly, I'll pledge to you that unlike what we've seen in the past, I will be your champion in Congress. I will be the cheerleader, the advocate for Oregon's 1st District, because that's what we've been lacking, and I'm sorry to say that's why we're in this fix we're in, the only district in the country without representation today. I can't wait to fill that void. Thank you very much.
DR. DR Delgado Morgan is co-owner of Morgan Meadows Vineyard, makers of fine Oregon Pinot Noir. On the label it says Ribbon Ridge Appellation. Maybe she wanted to explain that, but I think it translates to McMinnville. So I'm happy to introduce DR.
Thank you. The Ribbon Ridge appellation is off of North Valley Road between Newburgh and Gaston. It is the backside of Bald Peak. Thank you for your time. It's a privilege to be with you today. I pledge my allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. We are a republic. The framers of our Constitution got it right. They believe that we the people, they believe in we the people. It takes conviction to believe in people. A short time ago, I met two ladies dedicated to making quilted bags filled with supplies and a handmade quilt for foster children, all done anonymously. I went home, picked up a large bolt of fabric, drove it back, and donated it. It planted the seed for me. I know I have a talent for recognizing potential in others. I want to help Oregon grow and prosper by tapping into everyone's potential. I know what it takes, and working together we can grow and make Oregon the best it can be by doing the right thing for the right reason, for Oregon and our country. One of my core values is honor family. I want to honor all families. I promise to perform my job as your representative in Congress to the best of my ability. I have integrity, which is a very important quality and ensures you will be proud of your representative. I want to thank all those who signed my petition to be published in the voters pamphlet. I especially want to thank the volunteers who helped me. A quick story about gathering signatures for my petition. A gentleman and his wife stopped by to ask a few questions. While the gentleman was interested in my views, his wife kept saying, "Don't sign anything." And as we continued, she also continued, "Don't sign anything." Eventually, the gentleman turned to his wife and said, "It's my signature. It's a free country, and I want her to be published in the voters pamphlet." His wife signed too. I have worked for more than 40 years, and I'm proud to say that I've never called in sick or failed to show up to a job. I take pride in my work. I will be proud to represent you in Congress with all my best work ethics. We know what our communities need. We can help each other build our neighborhoods safe and prosperous. We are our best service providers. I believe we'll continue to build our state proudly and successfully by our ingenuity and our entrepreneurial spirit. I have many ideas that will tap into the expertise and maximize the potential of all Oregonians and Americans. I have had executive experience, and among other qualities, I have common sense, which is necessary to fix the deficit, eliminate the debt, and get the economy moving again. I believe Americans should have as much of their own money as possible. For example, the EPA makes regulations that affect all of our lives and yet does not answer to Congress. They represent special interest. This type of regulation is wrong and needs to be changed. I believe government should govern, secure our borders, and protect our rights. Government needs to roll back its services as much as possible and give them back to the private sector. The private business sector will compete to bring service costs down and employee benefits up. Only with minimal government regulation and oversight is this possible. We are a country of laws. Government laws need to protect us. The Affordable Health Care Act has some good provisions. For example, pre-existing conditions. Healthcare is important to all Americans and should be fair to all. Healthcare insurance companies need to be able to compete across state lines, and tort reform is a major part of, should be a major part of